Today, my guest is Brian Floriani. Brian is an entrepreneur and founder of Bernie's Book Bank.
I pick up the phone, and a nice little old lady picked up the phone. I proceeded by saying, "Hi, my name is Brian from the Gurney from Bernie State Farm office." And she goes, "Honey, it doesn't sound like you know where you're from." You're going to be vulnerable, but you're going to be vulnerable anyway. So if you're going to be taken advantage of, do it while you're giving. If you look at homelessness, hunger, and poverty, and if you were to dig down to the stories of all these people, you would find lack of literacy, a lack of education somewhere. These children wanted to be reading. And so, started a book bank in my garage on my credit card for $5,000. There's two really important days in your life. The day you are born and the day you realize why you were born. And I just feel very grateful to know that I know why I was put here. Choose significance over success. Success is about your accomplishments. Significance are about the accomplishments of other people.
That's good. I think that's the theme of the show. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Life's a Pitch. Before we get into today's episode, I need you to do me a huge favor. Whatever platform you're on, so Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, make sure to follow or subscribe. I know everybody always says that, but for a newer show like this, one subscriber genuinely makes a huge difference. All right, that's my ask. Let's get to our amazing guest for today's show. Today, my guest is someone I met a few months back and immediately hit it off with him. I had a follow-up conversation that probably could have lasted hours, but we had families that we had to get back to. Brian Floriani. Brian is an entrepreneur and founder of Bernie's Book Bank, a nonprofit he launched out of his garage that has distributed tens of millions of books to children in under-resourced communities. He's also a co-founder of Buku Branded, a purpose-driven company that redirects marketing dollars toward literacy and is known for bringing the give-first, relationship-driven approach to both business and impact. Brian, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Good. I was doing, I told you I was doing a little bit of research, listening back on some of your old podcasts that you've been on, and shout out to John Morris. I would much rather be playing golf like John does on the JMO show. I saw that you did like this first episode. I remember he was talking about shooting a show on the golf course. I don't think I'd want anybody to see. You have a good, pure golf swing. You got golf in your background. I don't want nobody needs to see my golf hack.
Well, don't sell yourself short, Judge. You're a tremendous slouch.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But honestly, I was looking forward to having you on today. When we met up, you told some stories and I was cracking up. One of the things that you talked about was your intro into sales. The story with your brother. I think it was your brother.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of us me at least, tripped and fell into sales. It's not something that I had ever planned for. I majored in like sociology in school just because I needed what I had. This is what I have credits in. This is what's going to get me out of here. I got to do it. And then I tripped and fell into sales. A lot of people get into sales because they fall into it, right? What made you stick with it and actually be really, really good at it?
Yeah, that's a hilarious story. That I'll never forget, and love my brother, miss him dearly. But it was a huge learning experience for me because, when I started with him, I would consider myself a pretty confident person. I had put myself out there in the world enough to feel like I could, I felt like I could do anything. Yeah. The first day I went to work for him, he was known as Bernie from Gurney, and he was a State Farm agent in Gurney, Illinois. And, we did a little orientation at the beginning of the day, and then he threw me in this room and gave me a book of business, which was actually a book of business. There was no CRMs at that point. And he was just asking me to go call people and, get them in for a family insurance checkup. And I was like, oh, that's easy. And the door shuts behind him, and man, the caller reluctance just set in real quickly. And, sales is a word that it's true. It is sales. I mean, I don't want to sugarcoat that, but I've always seen it as helping other people, or providing them with something, that creating awareness for them, providing them with something. Even when I was selling life insurance or personal liability umbrella policies, it really was about the person first. And it was about providing some awareness around maybe where some holes were in their, in this case, insurance, and that I knew they wanted to protect their family, and here were some options to do that. And that was that. I wouldn't consider myself a strong arm salesperson. I've really started with the person that's in front of me. And if you think about golf instruction, which is what I was doing before I started the book bank, that's sales too. You're trying to motivate, inspire someone. And one thing that I learned many things with the Golf Digest schools that helped me today. And one of them was, you're not teaching golf, you're teaching people golf. And same thing with insurance. Even you're not selling insurance, you're helping people be more protected in case of a tragedy. And that really hit home because it really shifted my focus from a product you're trying to sell to the person that's in front of you. And it's really about helping them first. And it just so happens that, when you're helping somebody, you might be selling them something too. And I guess it's the same with Bernie's book bank, is developing relationships, providing people an opportunity to turn their success into significance for the sake of other people, which is not only for the good of the people we're serving, but for all of us too. So yeah, that was a great intro into sales. But I see sales as relationships. We're all buying things, we're all selling something, and people give and buy from people they like for what they need or to have impact.
Yeah. Is there any specific story around the first time you picked up the phone, first time you scheduled that meeting, and the first time you were like, oh shit, there's something here?
Actually, it was pretty demoralizing. If you want me to tell the story, I will. So Bernie had this opening. Hi, my name is Brian from the Bernie from Gurney State Farm office, blah, 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 blah. So, I rehearsed a couple times, and finally, after I picked up enough courage to pick up the phone, I went to the first person in that book of business, which, by the way, the book of business was about this big. And when he closed the door, man, I was looking at the phone. I was looking for windows to climb out of. I was like, I want to be anywhere but here. I don't care if I'm a failure. I'm not doing this. And somewhere, some way, I was like, okay, I got to do this. And probably it was because my older brother I looked up to, and, I didn't want to let him down, and I wanted to prove to him that I was worthy. So I get up the gumption, I pick up the phone, and a nice little old lady picked up the phone, which was a blessing, because I proceeded by saying, hi, my name is Brian from the Gurney from Bernie State Farm office. And she goes, oh, honey, it doesn't sound like you know where you're from. And I said, honestly, ma'am, I really don't. And I don't even know why I'm here. And I don't even know why I'm doing this. But Bernie's my brother, and I know he cares about you. And man, you would make my day if you would schedule a meeting with Bernie. And she did. And I proceeded to work my way through the book of business, getting it right. It was Bernie from Gurney, not Gurney from Bernie. And I ended up, doing pretty well for Bernie. It's important because you need to get used to hearing no. Mm-hmm. And not only hearing no, but overcoming obstacles. And one thing that I learned from Bernie, I learned a lot from Bernie, but this still comes into play today, is this little maneuver, which is you do want to protect your family in the case of a tragedy, don't you? And as he said, you end the question by doing this, because when you do this, people do not want to do this. And in fact, people they don't want to say no. But if you don't ever give them the opportunity to say no, they don't have to say no. So now it's happened before. I mean, it takes a pretty strong person when I'm doing this, or anybody's doing this, to do this. But that was a good little tactic. Yeah. Right, Jared?
What do you just say no to?
Right, no, Jared?
No,
yes.
Don't care about the family. Don't care about the family.
Good. Yeah.
That's good. I do want to come back to, and I love that story. That's the story you told before. And it's just, I think we've all got that story in us somewhere. Like the first time I picked up the phone, the first time I went on an in-person meeting with a CFO, one of the questions that we're supposed to ask is, how many employees do you have? Well, my question was, how many employers do you have? And the guy looked at me and he goes, do you mean employees? And I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
It's like, yeah. All right. Anyway,
I still want to know how many employers you have, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
that's still a valid question.
Yeah, I remember the company was Executive Jet out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and I asked their CFO how many employers they have.
Well, did you get the business?
Yeah, we did actually. It was one of the first deals that I closed with this company.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's also some beauty in that. I mean, when you're authentic and you're vulnerable, I think people are craving that. And, you're going to make mistakes. And so you just embrace them and kind of laugh it off and try to use it for good.
For sure. I mean, that's one of the things that I live by. Like, make fun of yourself if all else fails, and people will forgive you for that. And honestly, that's why it's a good segue into my next topic is networking. Like you are like an incredible networker, you know, having that personality, that sense of humor, just being real with people, I think is one of the things that I immediately noticed in you and in our first conversation. What's something that most people get wrong though about networking that's quietly killing any chance of a relationship or any opportunity that people have?
The fact that they're networking, period.
Yeah.
I mean,
and using the word networking.
You might hate this answer, but I like sales. I don't really love the word networking. I mean, it's just too, like, I don't know, maybe there's an upside to it where you're like, look, we're just going to be honest here and we're just trying to network. That's just not in my nature. I mean, it's why networking events or dinner parties don't work real well for me, because
that's where we met, though. That is where we met. It was at a dinner party.
I know. But if you remember, we turned it into something really good, because at the end we had a really rich and meaningful conversation that had some depth to it.
Yeah, that's true.
And because that normally what happens is I want to have a real conversation. So I'll find one interesting person and I'll end up talking to them the entire time. And I think where you need to get to, and I don't know when I could say I got to this point, and maybe it's just my faith, but it's just giving first. It's just being curious first. It's like having no agenda at all. And it's a really powerful and peaceful place to get to where you don't have to feel like you're selling anything. You really are interested in getting to know this person. And I don't know, I feel like I've been blessed with this mentality, which is I want to help you. It really matters. I want to help connect dots for you. And maybe it's because so many people have helped me. And I just know now it's a proven fact. And I talk to my children about this. The sooner when you wake up in the morning, you can start thinking about other people's buckets, the more rich and more meaningful your life is going to be. And this is not why you do it, but you'll never have a bucket big enough for what comes back to you. And you're going to be vulnerable, but you're going to be vulnerable anyway. You're going to be taken advantage of anyway. So if you're going to be taken advantage of, do it while you're giving, not while you're taking, or in any other scenario. It's pretty simple. You give. And that doesn't mean necessarily things but give time, be curious, ask questions. And when you're done asking questions, keep asking questions. You know, it's another lesson I learned while working for Bernie was we just talk too much. Just ask some questions and listen. And many times the answer to the sale is happening for you. Just stop talking, which is a really hard thing to do when someone's looking at you. But man, if you can embrace that, it's a really fun activity.
Dude, it's tough. It is. As somebody that's been in sales for 20 years now, I've done exercises where you have to stare like, okay, now you stare at the person across from you and you're not allowed to say anything for 60 seconds, right? And it is one of the most brutal things to just stare at somebody and have there be silence. It's not easy.
Until you embrace it as fun. For example, Jared, for only one trip to Starbucks a month for your family, you can protect them with $1 million worth of life insurance. Doesn't that sound like a good idea?
I'm nodding my
sign right here and write me a check for $24 and we can be protected right now. I don't sell life insurance anymore, but maybe I should go back to doing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is tough, but silence is one of the things that my partners will talk about this. They've seen me on calls where they know that it's killing me when there's silence. Like, and it's probably a weak spot for me, but it's something I've definitely tried to work on. But you're right, man. It's spot on. Let's jump over to Bernie's book bank. I want to talk about that because that is living in Chicago. It's a well-known name in the city. I think it's a very powerful name in the city of Chicago. And I would love you to get into the story about how it started. I know that you've told the story 1 billion times, but I think it's fascinating. You're a lead instructor for Golf Digest in Tahoe and West Palm Beach. I don't know where you were at the time. And then there was an unfortunate event that happened, and you came back. Tell me a little bit about that, how it started, and kind of where it is today.
Yeah, well, I'll give it to you in chunks. 20 years ago, I was running golf schools for Golf Digest, West Palm Beach, Tahoe. It was awful. It was terrible. Thank you. You're supposed to laugh at that.
Yeah, I'm laughing because you said that and I was like, what are we talking about here?
So doing that, loving it, thinking that's what I was supposed to do. And then one day, 20 years ago, my dad, Bernie, and my grandmother, Luch, is what we called her, died on the same day. So my mom loses her husband and her mother on the same day. Eulogize them both, same day, hour apart. Our lives are turned upside down at this point, super tender, to insensitive to everything around, or what's going on around you. Left me asking myself three questions. If I were to die today, would anybody have anything to say about me? Would it be true? And would it matter? No matter how much I spun the answers, didn't like the answers. From there was a deep spiritual dive. And out of that, I just wanted to be a servant. And the original iteration of that was to be an elementary school teacher in an under-resourced community. So I went and spent a couple years in Zion as a reading paraprofessional. Learned a ton, a lot of things I didn't want to know, but I'm glad I did. You're entering the school system now as an adult, which gives you a very different perspective. You know that teaching anybody anything is hard. Teaching children is hard. Teaching one child's hard. Teaching children at scale is even harder. Teaching children at scale in an under-resourced community is even harder. You really start to understand the value of reading. When you're 4 or 5 years old, you didn't look at your buddies and be like, oh my gosh, our life just changed. We just attained the best skill ever. You just kind of go on to the next thing, and you almost take it for granted. And so I'm seeing these children with all the hope in their eyes, and it just killed me to look down at them and knowing that it's almost over before it started, and they had nothing to do with it. And not only is that not right, they deserve an opportunity to pursue happiness just like our kids do, but it ultimately comes back to impact us all. If you look at homelessness, hunger, and poverty, those are symptoms of something else. And if you were to dig down to the stories of all these people, you would find lack of literacy, a lack of education somewhere. But the upside of this is that these children wanted to be reading. They were eager to go home and read. We knew there were no books in the house. We knew that nobody was taking them to the library. We knew that you could check books out at the library at the school, but you couldn't take them home. So I saw teachers every day lined up at a copying machine, copying off pages of a book, stapling it together, giving it to children, and thinking that was going to inspire them to read. And I was leaning on my experience. I'm like, well, that's not how it was done for me, and that's not how I'm doing it for my children. Anecdotally, it didn't make sense. And so I dug into the research, and the research has proven time and time again that book ownership is critical to reading readiness and reading proficiency by 3rd grade. And then I started looking at other models around the country of people trying to get books in the hands of children, which I applaud all of them. But big or small, what I was looking for in a model was a model that was effective, efficient, sustainable, and scalable. And no matter which ones I saw, none of them were all 4 of the 4. And so, December 2009, best time in history to start a nonprofit.
Yeah, perfect.
Started a book bank in my garage on my credit card for $5,000. I had no business doing this. I was an expecting father. She's now 17 years old and looking at colleges. I had 3 jobs. I had no money. I knew no one, but I was convicted. And my thought was, if the why is important enough, we'll figure out the how. And, we set out to build an American institution. And that's not because we wanted to put it on the back of our jerseys. It's because we know that America needs an institution like Bernie's Book Bank, because book ownership should never be a reason in this country why we don't have reading ready children or reading proficient children. And this is actually a solvable problem. And so it's been an incredible journey. We've now expanded into Milwaukee and the Suncoast of Florida, and building a national team, and have a positive response to a randomized control trial that we conducted to measure the efficacy of our program. And our new goal, is to be serving 20 million children annually across the country by 2045. I might not be alive to see that, but the beauty of the book bank now is that there's literally tens of thousands of people who have made this their mission and are all working together to get it done. And it's just an honor and a privilege and a blessing to be a small part of it anymore, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. Incredible story. Like, I was going to ask you why literacy, but I think you did a good job. Obviously, you recognized where there was a gap that needed to be filled and did it. When you think about success, because I think everybody has their idea of what success is. Like, oh, that person's successful. That person's successful. Would you say that your idea of what success was for you changed drastically from being a, semi-pro instructor, golfer in Tahoe to what it became once you realized the impact that you could make?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would be unrecognizable to you 25 years ago, but life happens, and you hopefully learn and mature over time, and you hopefully land in a place where you understand what really matters in this life. And it's not success. We are, every single one of us on this planet will have everything taken away from us between now and the time we die. And it's not to be dramatic or morbid. It's a fact. And you die with nothing except for this, the stamp you've put on the world, because you were a part of it. I don't know who said this. Maybe it was Mark Twain. He said there's two really important days in your life: the day you are born and the day you realize why you were born. And, many people never get there. And I just feel very grateful to know that I know why I was put here. And, without some tragedy in my life, and, there's no suffering, no joy. It's just a fact. And that I've just tried to take some of that heartache and turn it into good. If you think about it, when you lose somebody close to you, there's a hole in your heart. It's never going away, but you have some choices. You could put a bunch of junk in there and that's not going to end well. You could ignore it and that's not going to end well. Or I think the best choice is to plant a seed in that hole and nurture it and make something really good come out of it. And that's where the book bank started. It's way more than that now. The fact that I get to hear my dad and my brother's name hundreds of times a day is awesome.
Yeah, dude, that's very powerful.
And I'm glad his name was Bernie, because like Tim's book bank or Rick's book bank just wouldn't have had the same whimsical ring to it,
Yeah. Hey, not that it matters, but you can't see it right now. I've got a signed autograph picture back here of a guy by the name of Bernie Kosar.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I love a good Bernie.
Yeah, I know.
I love a good Bernie.
Awesome. That's great. And I think that a lot of people will look back on moments that they missed taking the opportunity that was in front of them and choosing a different path because it felt uncomfortable for them. And the fact that you were like, I'm doing this, I'm going to move, I'm going to change everything. I'm going to max out my $5,000 credit card. I'm going to start this thing. I'm going to build the impact that's necessary based on what I saw. That's not the comfortable path. That's not the path that could have led to a different version of what success could have looked like for you, but it's the one that you wanted. So again, it's a great story.
Well, I appreciate that. I feel blessed. I really just feel like I was called to do it, and all I did was respond. All I did was respond, and a lot of people have responded with me.
Good. And it's not like your golf game's going away. I've seen your swing. It's still there. You're good. What about, let's jump into Buku Branded. How did that spin up? And it's a funny story, and you know this, but I actually met your wife previous to meeting you on a conversation, and we talked Buku, and then I met you, and we kind of put all the pieces together that you were Christy's husband, and that it was also your business. So how did that start? And again, another business that is giving first. So providing more impact on top of what you're doing with Bernie's.
Yeah. So where that came from was, I felt like Bernie's Book Bank and many other nonprofits, it's like a rocket. It's building a really good rocket. And we feel like we've built a good rocket at Bernie's Book Bank, but rockets need fuel, and fuel is money. And relatively speaking, I think we've been really, really good at doing that over the years, but it's all relative. And, I don't know if it's enough. Is it sustainable? Who knows? And for many reasons, I think it's going to get harder to raise money in a traditional philanthropic setting. But at the same time, over the last couple of decades, you've had the rise of social enterprise, which has really been fed by the consumer becoming more conscious. How was it made? Where was it made? Who does it benefit? And there's proof of concepts in that with Newman's Own and Bamba Socks and Tom's Shoes. And then you also have just the community waking up, whether it's the community itself or the corporate community waking up to responsibility and understanding that good business is good responsibility. In philanthropy, you're kind of waiting at the bottom. Once your family's taken care of and you're definitely taken care of, you might have some money to give away. And there's a lot of competition out there for those dollars and a lot of great work being done. But, philanthropic giving has been 2% of the GDP for a long time. It's probably never going to change. And like in Lake County, when we started the book bank, there were 1,000 nonprofits. Today, there's more than 2,000. So the competition for, I think, a shrieking amount of money in a traditional philanthropic setting, it's just going to get harder and harder. So I was just looking for a way to work myself up the financial food chain just a little bit into already budgeted dollars. Did I ever want to sell tchotchkes? No, not at all. I don't see it as just selling tchotchkes though, but some of what we sell are tchotchkes. But I had to get over my pride just a little bit because it started out with a different name and it started out as a lifestyle brand, and that wasn't going real well. And, I'd almost poo-pooed the promotional product space already, but I've been wrong before. And I had to have a little pride check. And that was, is this about building a brand, or is this about generating revenue to revolutionize literacy in America? And the answer was, it's about generating revenue. So that was launched really full-time as a promotional products company. In 2023, we put together a team of decades of experience. And it's going really, really well. And to date, in just the last few years, we've given back $128,000. And the goal is to give $1 million back by 2030. But we really want to be writing checks with 2 commas in them. And we really feel like this is a great opportunity, because in the promotional product space, you're not sitting on inventory, and you can grow revenue quickly with not incrementally increasing headcount. And I just feel grateful the way that people have responded to the value proposition. And we don't lead with that. We want to provide elite client service. We want to be competitive from a pricing perspective. But the exclamation point is the 100% give back. I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. So let me get this straight. You're going to serve me just like better, as good or better than any other company. Yes. You're going to be competitive pricing. Yes. We even match pricing. And then you're going to take all the profits and give it back to literacy. Yep. Why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't you do that?
Why wouldn't you do that?
It's been a fun journey. The other thing about it is, I've referenced this before, I've been blessed with an incredible network, and I just saw this as an opportunity to better monetize the network in a different way. And in many cases, I'm walking in the Buku door and I walk out both the Buku door and the Bernie's Book Bank door, or Buku is helping create way more awareness for Bernie's Book Bank. And Bernie's Book Bank is one of the beneficiaries of Buku, along with 3 other national organizations. So completely separate entities. The only thing that unites the two is I started them both, and Bernie's Book Bank is a beneficiary. And so I'm just really grateful it's going as well as it's going. But I can see now, like, there's incredible opportunity for Buku.
Who's a Buku customer? Who is a good fit for somebody, for you guys?
Everyone.
There it is.
If you think about
now, silence. Now it's just silence right there.
But in all reality, not to sound, but it is true. If you think about, when we talk about promotional products, a lot of people think just tchotchkes, but we're really talking about anything that can be branded. So that's company swag to school uniforms, to office supplies, to stuff for a birthday party, to napkins. There's literally millions of products that you can brand and decorate. And that's the other beautiful thing about the business, is that everyone is a potential client. Speaking of which, we need to get you a better hat.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I got to get an Outworks hat.
It should say Buku Branded on it, maybe. We'll give you some.
You'll be a recurring guest, and next time I'll bust out the Buku.
Okay.
On it.
That's cool.
Some Buku. Do you guys have Buku bucks? Is that what you're just saying?
Oh, but that's a great idea.
Good job,
yeah,
Jared.
That's good. Man, you are amazing, Jared.
I know. Thanks. I know. I'm going to, shit, my wife's not.
It's like Bitcoin. You want me to give you $10,000 worth of Buku bucks right now?
Perfect. You know what?
I just gave it to you. It's on its way.
Just hit my inbox. You know what? You've got a lot going on. Like, if I were to follow you around for a week, like, what am I learning? What's something I may not expect to see? You're going to say
you don't want any
3 rounds of golf.
You don't want any part of this. I got a pretty good motor, but I had a lot of great examples in my life growing up, whether it's my family, my extended family, or just friends of the family. And my dad grew up without running water until he went to college. My grandfather was a coal miner for 51 years, and that sticks with me. And whether it's conscious or subconscious, and you do what you want to do, and you don't do what you don't want to do. And that's the difference between a wish and a want. And I want this. First and foremost, I want to glorify God. Second, I want to be a great husband. And then I want to be a great father. And then I want to do whatever I possibly can, to leave a mark. And to make this world better, because there's a lot of good and there's a lot of hope in this world. Yeah, it's complicated, and there's things that are hard to understand. And it can be, if you're reading and watching the wrong things, can make you think that everything's going to hell in a handbasket. I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. And it's up to us to fight back against that, and to be good for other people, and to be good examples, and to keep fighting against that.
Yeah. We ultimately choose what path we go down, and we control our narrative, for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's switch it up. We're getting toward the end.
Oh no, already?
Extra innings, man. I have a baseball now, so I'm playing around with the baseball while people talk. So it's called Life's a Pitch. So I got to have something, right? What is that? Was that an egg?
This is a stress ball because I am really stressed out.
I have one of these things. This is my little stress gel thing.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, it's pink. It adds some pop
Yeah.
to the show. All right, so
Yeah.
rapid fire questions, extra inning. I'm going to give you these questions. Give me an answer, and I will, as I always say, try not to chase it down a rabbit hole. All right. First question. What's the one lesson you've taught others in work or in life that you think more people need to hear?
Choose significance over success.
That's good.
Success
I think that's the theme
is
of
about
the show.
your accomplishments. Significance are about the accomplishments of other people.
That's good. That's our theme right there. I had a conversation last week, actually with Alex Sheridan, who I think I think you've been on his podcast before.
Yeah.
And Alex I was asking him, like, how do you prep for these shows? And he's like, you have to have a theme. You have to have a North Star. What's the goal of each show? I think what you just said right there is the lesson, the cherry on top of this. So well said. What's something that you love talking about that drives everyone else in your life crazy?
Well, many things, but I'll give you one. On time is 15 minutes late.
On time. All right. I thought you were going to go to the Bill Belichick school of
Who?
Who is it? Bill Belichick
Who's
or
that?
Tom
Who's
football
that?
coach? Football
I'm a
coach.
Steelers fan. I don't even know
God.
who Bill Belichick
You know
is.
Tom Coughlin. That's not a Steelers hat you're wearing right now. What hat is that?
So University, I'm a fighting blue hen, and I'm proud of it.
All right. Well, they could be another yellow and blue, maize and blue color. And we can't be talking Michigan and the Steelers on the same show.
Michigan stole everything from us. We set the tone. We set the tone.
I like that. I'm on board.
Have you watched Shoresy, by the way, yet?
Yes, I watched the first episode and I loved it, dude. It was not what I expected. But I love him. I love him. He's great.
I love Shoresy.
Really quick, Brian, give a quick 10-second synopsis on what it is, the show that people need to watch.
Ted Lasso meets hockey, meets edge and inappropriateness, but you are guaranteed to laugh out loud.
Yes, that's a good way.
All right, next question.
It's definitely inappropriate. All right, next question. What is the one tool, software that you cannot live without?
Salesforce.
All right, that's good. That's a good responsible salesperson answer. I don't.
Okay, notes on my phone.
Notes on my phone. Fine. That's a good one.
What that allows me to do, I got things that pop in my mind. I could put it on there. I can prioritize it based on the day. I can't live without that.
Okay, let's go on. What's the last thing that genuinely scared you?
AI.
Ooh, there's a rabbit hole. We could fucking dive
We're
down
going to
right
think
now.
our way right into oblivion. I don't care. You could call me an old fuddy-duddy. You could say the times have passed me by. I don't care. We're going to lose our souls, and that's all we got. But, hey.
Do you use AI?
No.
You don't use it at all for anything?
No, I mean, I do. I spend time with people. I write emails. I text. I call people. I use Salesforce.
You're happy. You don't feel like you're getting left behind. You're fine.
I probably am, but
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
What's the truth about business you didn't believe or entrepreneurship that you didn't believe before you actually lived?
There is no normal.
No,
there's no such thing as normal. In business, in relationships, in life, in nothing. There's no normal. You've seen one business, Mm-hmm. You've seen one startup, Yeah, there's certain outlines and principles that are definitely helpful, but you've never really made it. There's no normal. There's just chopping wood. That's it.
Yeah. Yep. So there's the question of what's a normal day look like for you? I'm sure that I can get a nice animated answer out of that one.
Uncertainty.
Yes. All right. You got a table for a four top at a restaurant. You got 3 guests, living or dead, that you want to have dinner with. Who are they?
Well, they're all dead.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yep. Jesus
Bob
is
Marley.
the number one answer is Jesus that we've gotten. And it makes sense that why that wouldn't be the go-to. There's so many answers there. Bob Marley's amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't want to sound common, but I mean, I think we all should want to meet Jesus. I mean,
For sure.
Just my opinion. Jesus, Bob Marley, and my father.
Awesome. Who's controlling that conversation? Jesus, Bob Marley, or your dad?
That's a great follow-up question. I think Jesus is listening. I think Bob Marley is smoking.
Yep, that's no doubt.
And I think my father liked to have fun. I think we'd all be laughing a lot.
Good. He's ordering the next round.
And learning a lot.
Good.
I see all three of them as revolutionaries, and revolutionary can be a little bit of a strong word, but I don't know. I'd be honored if somebody called me a revolutionary.
Brian, you're a revolutionary. Feel honored?
I love you, Jared. I said someone. I said someone.
Someone will.
No,
Someone will get to this point and respond back and write in the comments, Brian, you're revolutionary. Last question. First concert, last concert.
My first concert was Steve Winwood.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. I love that. I mean, he has a lot of secret bangers that people often forget that Steve Winwood sang. There's a lot.
Oh, he's got soul, baby.
Yeah.
Listen to him.
He was part
Higher
of
Love.
What group was he? He was part of the Spencer Davis group. Wasn't that Steve Winwood?
I don't know.
Give Me Some 11. I think that was Steve Winwood. The only reason I know that is because my parents used to listen to it. He's good.
He's a legend. He's an underrated legend. And my last concert was Stick Figure.
Stick Figure.
You know Stick Figure? So Stick Figure is kind of a more little modern reggae with some good, solid, organic roots. How about that?
Okay. That's good. Do you like the Roots?
Yeah.
Do you know the Roots?
I like the Roots.
All right.
I just like the word roots. Roots just means something to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Brian, that's the show, man. That was great. That was a lot of fun. How do people find you?
They can find me at Brian at bukubranded.com or Brian at berniesbookbank.org or LinkedIn. I don't play on Twitter or Instagram or any of that.
Big TikTok guy, though. Big
They
TikTok
can call me at 847-722-1150.
There you go. First number given out on the show. I love it.
I mean, hey, man.
It's authentic.
Call me.
I like it.
Call
Yeah.
me. Call me. We'll have a
Awesome.
good conversation. And I'll sell you some life insurance.
There we go.
But I appreciate you having me on, man. I feel kin to you, too. And I look forward to spending many more hours and days with you and playing some golf and keeping it real and learning from each other, really.
Absolutely, man.
So I appreciate you having me on and thinking I'm worthy. And any way I can help you, I'm here.
Awesome. Appreciate you. All right.
All right, man.
That is a wrap for this episode of Life's a Pitch. Big thanks to Brian Floriani for joining me today. If you liked it, share it, tell a friend, or just steal something smart that he said and pretend it was yours. But also make sure that if you're listening or watching this on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, that you are subscribing or following. That's my ask for today. And remember, behind every strategy, title, or success story, there's chaos, self-doubt, and a whole lot of trial and error. We will see you next time.